We'll see.
Why?
Just do it. Let's go live.
We're live
We're
already.
live?
We're
All
already
right.
live.
Listen,
Everybody's here.
It might not go wonky.
It might not go wonky. Hello.
Hello.
Everybody, and welcome back to the One Piece podcast, where I force this dude to watch all of One Piece, and today we're going to prison.
Today we're having another breakout episode.
We're having another
prison break episode.
Prison break. Prison break.
My name's Esteban. I hate anime, and this guy's making me watch all of One Piece in a warm, cozy onesie.
That's a nice plus, though. You never put it like that.
The onesie's nice.
The onesie's nice. You don't find it humiliating?
Demeaning.
You find it demeaning?
I'm adding on to humiliating.
But you just said it was nice.
It's cozy. I said it was cozy.
Then you said it was nice.
It's a nice cozy.
I mean, I'm wearing one too. It's not like we're just sitting here laughing at you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. You're at least like a cool shark. Though, let's be real. I mean, I'm a cool... Penguins are the best, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with either of us.
No, we're both perfect human beings. I'm exhausted. We took last week off. Let's see how much we remember.
My life's imploding again.
Your life's imploding again?
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, my car just completely took a shit on me and left me stranded out in the world.
Yes.
So.
Right on Tuesday, of all days, for your car to go kapunker.
Yeah, so I had to take last week off. And yeah.
Oh, and I guess I could have done this show alone.
How? Without me to argue with? Without me to press your buttons?
I wonder if we could have done something fun with Ollie the octopus.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just some. It was too short timing, regardless. But that's a fun. That's just a little thought that went through my.
Homophobia-esque type vibes. That's it, though.
Homophobia-esque vibes?
I don't want to say full-on homophobia, but like everything that went down with like Mr. 3 seemed very kind of like you wouldn't be able to pull it off today like he pulled it off back then, you know.
Mr. 3 or Mr. 2?
I was looking into there was a word that he kept on using to refer to himself and people like him. I forget what it is, but I looked into it because I was curious. And from the resources I was seeing, it's on terms with like the F word here.
Okama?
No, was that the word he was using?
That's what Digman's saying in chat.
Okay.
But I think isn't Okama just like when you're like, it's just like a Japanese way of saying like half girl.
It might
half
be.
boy.
Like I said, like just from the resources that I was seeing, they were saying it's like a derogatory term.
Interesting. I'm not sure. I don't remember him referring to him. I remember him saying.
Oh, they said it a lot.
I believe you. I'm not denying that. I read the manga. I assume they probably said it though. Cross-dressing. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, whenever I will say I like Mr. 2 as a character, but I always feel weird talking about him.
Yeah, it's a weird, it's a touchy subject because there's a lot of things going on here. Like,
yes.
First off, you and I know next to nothing about Japanese culture in and of itself.
Right.
On top of that, like, it's a very like hot button topic in general, the whole LGBT trans like movement.
Right.
And then on top of that, how those two interweave with each other.
Right.
And then we're talking about a time period like in the 2000s, you know, like that was a very different time than it is now.
Definitely. And then also it was presumably like, I don't know where Japan sits these days compared to then either, because it was definitely a different time in America. I don't even know what it was. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I totally feel you.
So all that in mind, like watching this, it was a little weird.
Yeah,
because and that's what I'm trying to like say. Like homophobic-esque, you know?
Okay.
Like, not full-blown homophobic, because I just don't know what I'm talking about.
Right, for sure.
But it certainly didn't seem 100% kosher.
I think that's fair. It's also aimed at like teenage boys, so like are the jokes just like edgy jokes?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know either. Regardless, let's start at the beginning. Which is do you remember what it was?
Hell no. Let's see. They get there.
They get there. What's her face? Snake Girl.
Steak Girl?
Snake, not steak.
Snake Girl. Cobra. No, Boa.
Boa Hancock.
Boa Hancock.
Sneaks old Luffy in under the cloak there.
Yep.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. They win.
This is what happens. When we take a week off.
We forget everything.
The podcast quality drops immensely. Not that it was high to begin with.
Yeah, it's like cramming for a test and then the test getting postponed.
Yeah, and then you don't cram at all the rest of the
exactly.
week. And then the test comes up and you're like, shit.
I remember the warden and then his like second in command.
Yes.
And the second in command really bugged me.
I remember him bugging me the first time around, but he kind of. I mean, I don't love him, but I kind of like what he's going for. Kind of like his whole, like, I want to be the warden, so I'm just going to fuck the warden over every chance I get.
And I mean, I get that, but I feel like it didn't really impact the plot too much. It was just a reoccurring joke.
Yeah,
like
it
over
was.
and over again.
It was,
So,
but also,
yeah.
you know, well, it kind of affected, it almost did. There was a point at the end where, like, he was like, I'm just going to let, like, Buggy and Mr. 3 get away. If they come past me, I'm just going to let them go because I want the warden to get blamed for this so I can become the warden. And then they try to fight him anyway, and so he just beats the crap out of him. So, no, it didn't affect the plot, but it could have.
I guess. You're right.
It definitely could have. Yeah, I'm just looking through my images here.
Yeah, there's one. I think that character's whole shtick is introduced with this line. Calling it my Impel down is too ambitious. I am still but an assistant to the warden. I think he yelled at the top of his lungs next to the warden.
Sounds about right. Hold on.
Yeah.
Alexa, turn lights to blue.
Oh, yeah.
What? Hold on. She's giving me some tune. Alexa, turn basement to blue. It was my fault. It was my fault, as it is.
There you go. It's always the guy's fault, ain't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's fitting. I shouldn't have called them lights. You know, how's she supposed to know what lights means? I've named them for a reason. What were we talking about? What did you just say? You quoted the man.
I quoted the
man. Myth, the legend.
Do you
what do you think of his
name?
whole aesthetic?
He's just an Egyptian.
Yeah. He's an Egyptian with a beer belly.
In a different lifetime, I would have been pissed off, but like,
Bro.
I mean, I've long accepted that this is just one piece. Like race, species, looks do not matter. People just exist.
Yeah.
And
they're just a fun character because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
fun is subjective.
Egyptian man, what's wrong with wanting to dress like an Egyptian? You know,
there's nothing wrong with wanting to walk like an Egyptian.
There it is. Why is there something wrong with dressing like an Egyptian?
There ain't.
Exactly.
There just ain't.
Ain't.
We've seen fish people. We've seen people who dress like eggs.
Eggs?
I think so. Or maybe it was just a person who looked like an egg. I remember a human who was very Humpty Dumpty.
Very egg-like, huh?
Yeah.
It does. I don't remember
like,
it, but it, yeah, it would fit
I don't
right
care
in.
about
I'm
his
not gonna.
species. I don't care about his gender.
I mean, is Fishman?
Its gender, their gender.
Is Fishman really that weird? That's a pretty
No.
normal, like, fictional.
Yeah, that's fine. You also get mermaids, giants,
Yep,
bird
see?
people.
You get all the fictional characters.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just dress like Egyptians.
Yeah. No reason to it. No consequence to it. It's just how they are.
Exactly. It's just the world. And speaking of the world, let's jump over to the digger question.
All right. That was quick.
It was, and I'm pretty sure I talked to him last week. And I'm pretty sure this is kind of pertaining to his question. So this is a good spot.
I know that
Okay. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? Tuesday, not the best day, not the worst day.
No.
You know, could be worse.
Yeah. Could be worse.
Could
be
be worse.
Wednesday.
Could be Wednesday. Tomorrow it will be worse. All right, can you see him?
I can.
All of his glory.
Yep.
All right, here he is. Hopefully you can
I
hear
have
him.
said to Wade in the past, at least once, that I don't really like Impel Down. And I was really not looking forward to rewatching it in order to come up with arc-relevant questions. Which goes to show that even I, the resident One Piece expert, can be dumb and wrong sometimes. Impel Down is fucking great, and I take back everything I've ever said bad about it. This arc is quintessential One Piece. Matt Owens, he's the head writer for the One Piece live-action Netflix adaptation, has said in an interview that One Piece is three things. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, and it makes you go, holy shit. Now, I know that this probably doesn't track for a quality ignorant cinema plebeian like yourself, but for true fans like Wade and me, a simpler explanation for One Piece could not be given. I was laughing as we had all this Scooby-Doo, Hanna-Barbera cartoon horror action going on throughout the prison, and it's clearly an homage to that kind of stuff. The interactions between Luffy, Buggy, and Galdino are hilarious. Then Magellan delivers Luffy an absolute colon-cleaving, the ass puns are back, boys, and throws his poison-addled body in the snowy hell to die. That is a holy shit moment if I've ever seen one. And then our eyes begin to water as Bon Clay steps up to the plate and fights for his and Luffy's life against a pack of deadly, hungry wolves, almost dying in the process. This is truly everything that makes One Piece, One Piece. As much as I would like to talk more about the goings-on of this arc, I have a feeling that you and Wade will do a good enough job of it. I want to focus on the wacky design of Impel Down. Forests of spikes, mythical beasts, endless deserts and chilling tundras, and a giant pot of boiling blood over the furnace. Oda devised some truly horrific stuff. What do you think of the overall design of Impel Down as a prison and torture chamber? And also, what is your favorite, I guess, method of torture? And what would be your least favorite method to be tortured by if you were ever sent here?
There you go.
It's a fun one.
It is a fun one.
Yeah. So I think it can be said pretty obviously, like the inspiration behind the structure and everything was that Dante's Inferno? That's called the Divine Comedy, right?
The Divine Comedy?
Yeah, like where Dante descends the multiple layers of hell.
Yeah, I
for,
know
like,
Dante's
fun or
Inferno.
something.
Oh, was it for fun?
I don't know.
Did it because... I thought it was like to save his wife or something.
Might be.
It might be just for fun. I kind of like the idea that it's just for fun even better.
It really drives home like the One Piece comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what the hell. Like, does it work practically in a functional, like, is it easy for me to immerse myself in a world where this exists? Absolutely not. But Is it fine for One Piece? Sure, why not? Like, it's a giant-ass fucking tower with multiple layers of agonizing torture in wacky different ways. And built by man, you know, something like this is this, like, I'd imagine coming out of literally, like, Greek mythology. Like, but okay, just, you know, whatever. It's One Piece. I think my favorite that we've seen so far. Let's see. The top I need some reminders because there was I remember the Blazing Inferno one, which is just all fire.
Very
Above that, it's just really hot because the one below it is just all fire.
Yeah, exactly. The floor is just super hot.
Yeah.
You had, well, the top one wasn't really torture-y, but they had, like, those ghost dudes that would beat the crap out of you, like, if you tried to escape. The second floor, they just had, like, was the Minotaur the second floor?
The Minotaur, I think, was the second floor.
I think the Minotaur was the third floor. I think the second floor was another huge bird beast, though. The Chimera, I think maybe a Chimera was on there.
Okay.
There was in the second floor, I think, also had the spiky razor trees.
I remember the spiky razor trees.
First floor was the spike forest. Second, okay, hold on. Dig's coming in hot. First floor, spike floors and blue gory, which are the ghost dudes. Second floor, Minotaur and giant bird. Third floor, giant desert, because, yes,
it's hot.
It's hot. Fourth floor, boiling blood pot. And fifth floor is a frozen tundra.
I think my favorite out of those is the spiky trees, because it's just so impractical.
Yeah.
Like as a form of torture for prisoners, let's put them in a big ass room, and in that room, let's build flora, but make it all razors. Like the rest of them are kind of, you know, like, all right, like giant cage with beasties. Cool. That makes sense. Place is just really fucking hot. That makes sense. Place is just on fire. That makes sense. Place is just frozen. That makes sense. But no, let's actually build out a biome where all the flora is razors. It's so ridiculous.
The flora, exactly. It was the trees and the grass.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. But on a fundamental level, it's also fucked up. Because I was trying to think of, like, what do you think would be the worst? And to me, I feel like the razor trees.
I think the hot place would be the worst.
Maybe.
Not the fireplace, but the hot place. Because I've been to Texas and it sucks.
So you think the hot place would be worse than the frozen place?
Yeah, I actually like being in a state of hypothermia, so...
I don't know. It's tough. Like, I feel like on a fundamental level, being stabbed with spiky trees and shit as you walk around would be god-awful. But I also feel like I'd die pretty quick.
Yeah.
You'd bleed out in, like, no time flat.
Yeah, for
sure. You could just end it and impale yourself on a tree. If you're, like, in a sauna, like, or in a boiling pot of blood... or what have you, I feel like you're gonna last a little longer.
Yeah,
and it also sounds fucking awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, the tundra almost, I would say the giant desert floor would be worse than the boiling blood pot, just for that exact reason. I think you die pretty quick to the boiling blood pot.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a minute or two of presumably agonizing pain, and then you're gone. Mm-hmm. The fucking desert, the floor is hot, and you're just constantly sweating and burning and...
Yeah, and just mummifying, like, alive.
Very slowly, presumably. Like, so I'm kind of in agreement with you, but then the tundra, it's hard.
Yeah.
You ever been really, really fucking cold? It sucks.
It does suck, but... as you enter hypothermia, your body warms up, and it feels like you're burning.
That sounds like the worst case scenario.
So
you're
right
super
before you
cold and then
die-
you're burning alive.
So right before you die, you at least feel some warmth. Some heat.
It sounds like not warmth. It sounds like pain and horror.
Yes. I don't think it's pleasant.
So see, like, I feel like that's worse as opposed to like the desert floor.
Let me throw this at you.
Okay.
Tundra has dogs.
Oh yeah, Tundra does have dogs. They could kill you pretty quick.
They could, and it'd be a fuzzy death.
It'd be a fuzzy death?
Yeah.
Because of hypothermia?
No, because they're dogs.
What do you mean? Because they're like literally fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're ripping you from limb to limb.
Yeah, you probably could get one pet in there.
Yeah, you know, you'd be a. God forbid you didn't. Hungry dogs, yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to say whether it would be Tundra or Giant Desert, but I think it would definitely be one of those two. I feel like getting frostbite, like your fingers falling off, sounds really awful.
It does sound awful.
Giant Desert, I would hope the heat would just make me pass out and then I'd just like die.
I wonder how long that'd take.
I know. I wonder how hot it actually is. I'm gonna go Tundra, just because you went Giant Desert.
All right.
And also, I mean, I'm a penguin. I guess I would thrive. I'd be.
There
fine.
you go. Until the wolves get you.
Yeah, until the wolves get me. Do wolves eat penguins?
I don't think they'd shy away from it.
Yeah, I think they eat any flesh if given hungry. Yeah, if they're hungry.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you remember? What was the last thing that happened for you? Because I don't think I was reading the manga and I guessed, and I think I guessed wrong.
Let's see.
Was it the wolves?
I've definitely seen the wolves.
All right, so you made it that far. Riveting.
Yeah. Let's see. The last thing I have in my notes is this quote. Getting from level 3 to level 4 is as easy as throwing up. Did you get that one in the manga?
I don't think so. Who said it? Buggy?
Probably.
It sounds like Buggy. Dig
also,
saying Luffy knocks out the wolves and Bon Clay passes out. That's where the last thing
that
you
sounds
saw.
okay. That
That's
sounds
where you
right.
ended.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I want to go back. Let's rewind. Because you talk about how ridiculous the prison is, and you're 100% correct. Like, of course, of course it's ridiculous. However, and as you said, at the very least, Oda has built out this world where it's not even surprising in the least.
Yeah.
Like, if this shit showed up, I keep going to Avatar. So Avatar spoilies for anybody. I'll give you a couple seconds here to duck out. If you haven't watched it, you should.
Yeah.
But because in Avatar, they also have this inescapable prison. And
right.
Let me tell you, that prison was baby shit. Because that's the trope that always comes up. Every fucking series in existence has some inescapable prison. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever escaped from it. And then you get there and it's just like a prison. And it's like, how has nobody ever figured this out? But this one, it's kind of like, I mean, it's still a little unreasonable that, especially from like level 1. But like, the big bads get deeper down. How the fuck they gonna escape from the tree forest of razors? How are you gonna get out of there?
Okay, so like, to call this prison inescapable.
It seems more reasonable than like a normal prison.
Well, let's look at the entire world that's been created here. Uh-huh. We've already talked about this. Like, every aspect of this world and like the geography of this story has been like patchworked to work.
Yeah,
you know.
But yes, I agree. But it's kind of impressive how patchworked it has been to work. There's like no holes. Like, as ridiculous as the answer may be, there is an answer. Like, when is there not an answer?
I mean, I guess.
Which I think is kind of impressive. But yes, go on with your thought.
Like, the prison's been given the same treatment. Like, okay, imagine you're the writer, the author. Like, I need to come up with an inescapable prison.
Yeah.
Okay. It's tiered, so baddest people, it's going to be hardest to escape. That's a normal train of thought right there.
That's a good train of thought, yeah.
Now, within each tier, I need to populate with another challenge.
Yes.
And I feel like they're all relatively, like, thematic and tame until you get to level 1, which is just an environment made of razors. A living environment made of razors.
Exactly. It's like 216. Our college course that weeds out the people who don't actually want to be in the degree. It's a programming course. We both took it, and it's like, it just weeds out the people who aren't actually determined enough to get through the rest of it.
Exactly.
That's what the Forest of Trees is. It's just weeding out the people underneath gotta go through that. How are they gonna get through that? And it's only level 1, and it's awful.
So, like, it's whatever. Like the next level down could just be a bunch of, like, floating gumballs that stick to you, and you can't get it off, so you're just accumulating mass until you suffocate. Yeah. And I won't give a shit.
It's fun, though. Were you kind of interested? Were you kind of like, I wonder what the next level is? Like, I kind of want to know what we're getting into next.
Honestly, not really.
Oh, come on.
Well, because there was a relatively small amount of, like, attention given to, like, the actual levels.
Yeah.
Because it was mostly just about them, like, running from things.
Yeah.
Interacting with each other and, like, finding the exit.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't too much going on with the level itself,
Yeah, for sure. I do agree with that. The levels are like flavor to the overall story. They weren't like do or die.
Exactly. That being said, the interactions between Buggy and basically anyone really got on my nerves.
Elaborate.
I have this one quote written down, and I wish I remembered the context of it.
All
right. Someone says, and I believe it's Buggy, says, I just got foiled in my Buggy escapes from prison plan. Someone else responds, who gives a damn? To which they reply, and I just wrote scree in capital. They just start screeing. Like Rick and Morty chicken sauce screeing.
Chicken
like,
sauce?
Have you seen that video of the guy at McDonald's? He jumps onto the counter at McDonald's when they wouldn't give him the Szechuan sauce.
Is that where people they do
yeah, it's literally that. And then we get the much, like, awaited and needed explanation of Buggy's fruit, which, like, he can do all this wacky shit, but he has to remain within 50 feet of his feet, and they have to be on the ground.
Yep. Yeah, his feet can't fly, but everything else can.
Which, thank God we got that, because we were all wondering.
That's what I mean when I say, like, there's always an answer. Whether or not you want the answer, there's always an answer.
No, I'll tell you what happened. They couldn't come up with a challenge for this next segment of the story, so I was like, okay, got to add a new rule to complicate things, so now we're dealing with this.
I mean, it was like a non-issue, though. I think it was just Oda being like, I want to explain it here.
Maybe. I thought it was dumb and unnecessary, and, like, You could have left that out and not changed anything.
Yeah, but it's just a little bit of sprinkling on there, like that's
it's
how
for an
Buggy
audience.
works.
I'm not part of that audience.
And I would like to point out that Oda explains that very early on when we're still in the East Blue, in one of his Oda corners, in one of his
Oh yeah.
in the manga, he says that's how we got on the subject of like Luffy can only stretch so many gums, and then one of them was like Buggy can only fly so many chops away from his feet or something. I don't know.
So it may have well just started off with a bullshit joke and like, let's canonize this.
Yeah, that's what Oda does a lot, I think. Although I also wouldn't be surprised if he actually thought about it. Like I do think he does bullshit and then he actually finds a way to squeeze it into canon. But I cannot differentiate. But I also think he like thinks of a lot. Like, he comes up with a character, and he really thinks them through, and he thinks through all, like, the plot holes, and he's like, how do I fix that? So that when somebody asks, I know. And I can't differentiate what was bullshit and made up as a joke, and what was actually some thought-out thing that Oda just came up with years ago.
Yeah. That aside, though, I do want to say it's a bit of a cop-out kind of solution, because they use that as a solution to a problem. And anime in general does this a lot, where like they come up with a solution right as a problem presents itself, something that presumably existed all along, but wasn't relevant until now.
What was the problem and what was the solution?
They used his feet as an anchor for the rest of his body, so like something like that. They threw his feet, or they held on, or I think Luffy held onto his feet while he was flying.
Mm-hmm. That does sound right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it like dragged him down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
like it did need an explanation.
Well, it didn't. Like
But the explanation was justified. It wasn't just some random fact. It came into play.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I remember seeing this a lot in My Hero, where like things would be like the foundation, or like things would be presented, and then arcs down the road, like, okay, also this. Mm-hmm. Because now we're in a situation that demands it. Yeah. And I'm not calling it a One Piece specific problem. I'm calling it an anime general problem.
Yeah. No, it's a trope of kinds. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's something that got under my skin.
I wonder why though.
Why it gets under my skin?
Yeah.
Because I just think it's not great storytelling. It's a cop-out. Like, okay, you thought about it years ago in advance, mm-hmm. but you didn't present it to the audience, like, and that's where it matters. Like in the engagement, in the transaction of storytelling, that's where that information matters. It's the transference to the audience,
I don't totally understand. So, well, I guess, like, I don't know. You're saying, say that again.
Okay. So, the whole Buggy's feet thing, mm-hmm. you say was introduced long ago in Oda's Corner thing.
Yeah.
But the only people who are going to see that are the people who read the Oda's Corners, and the Oda's Corners have nothing to do with the story. So people who are listening to the story, whether through the anime or the manga,
yes,
like they're never going to get that information. So from their perspective, a problem was presented, and then a solution just was come up on the spot. That a solution that supposedly has existed since the beginning, but hasn't been relevant until now, so we don't get to learn about it until now. And it's just like, from that perspective, mm-hmm. like you can just make problems as you go and come up with solutions as you go. Like it doesn't matter anymore, because like problems are just going to have automatic solutions that you never knew about, but sure, they existed.
I agree. I get where you're coming from. However, I feel like One Piece usually only does that for like a joke. when there's like an actual problem that needs to be overcome, usually, I mean, I won't say, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's usually not just like an immediate, explicit answer beforehand. I'm trying to think of a scenario to justify that thought, and I can't. I can't think of one where like it did happen, but also we're 500 episodes in, and I can't remember everything.
Yeah.
I feel like usually One Piece does a good job at like bringing up a piece of information early on that could, or that comes into play later. I don't know.
The only other like scenario I can think of right now is the whole like Zoro cutting steel or cutting iron or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Where sure you could argue that there were seeds planted early on, but really it was just like, okay, problem, bullshit explanation as to immediate solution, you know?
Yeah, I agree. The Zoro cutting steel and Luffy going gear second, I think are too big. But I mean, 500 episodes in, we only got 3 examples
that we can think of.
Well, even 2, because again, I would rule this one out because it was kind of played as like a gag to get Buggy to come along. I don't think it was like a serious solution that would change like everything that he came up with on the spot and then a second later.
I really didn't see it as a gag. It's just sort of just something that is, you know, carrying the narrative along.
Yeah. But it's, I guess what I'm saying is it isn't a serious problem. Like
a serious problem being something like a Zoro situation where like I need to beat this guy, but he's made out of steel.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like, oh, I can cut steel now. Like I since this was just like he obviously wanted to carry Buggy further and have Buggy some more. So like I guess that's where I'm saying our differences are.
If I remember correctly, it was Buggy's plan to do this. Because it helped in some way.
He was going to go to like level 2 and then ditch him or something. He wanted the wrist anklet, or the wrist thing that Luffy had. Because the wrist thing that Luffy had was Captain John's. And Captain John's treasure was the treasure that Buggy was trying to find on that one island that we saw way long ago. And he recognized it as Captain John's ringlet, and then Luffy gave it to him for saying he would agree to help Luffy get to Ace. And then then he gives it to Buggy, and Buggy's like, I'm actually just gonna leave, and then somehow gets like caught in all of this.
Wasn't it like the power of friendship, like something like some bullshit like that?
Power of
like,
friendship.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, wow, they're really pulling the power of friendship to keep these people along.
I remember, well, with Bon Clay it was.
Okay.
Bon Clay, when Luffy went down with his fight, which is a fun one to talk about, Bon Clay ran away, and then he was with Buggy and Mr. 3, and they said, we're going to get out of here, and Bon Clay said, no, I've got to go back and save Luffy, he's my friend. But I don't know if there was like a straight up like power, friendship, rainbows appear and everybody's happy. That's the only situation I could think of.
I'm pretty sure it was Buggy's idea to like, hold my feet because there's this problem ahead that I have a solution for. So
I think you're right, but I think they were already falling. And they were falling into the spiky trees, I think.
That could be right.
I can't fully remember either.
I have a little like extra thing on my note here. If you feel the need to explain the mechanics of your world ad hoc like this, then the mechanics are flawed. So I guess I was pretty mad at the time. Jesus. But that's enough about that. Here's another quote that I thought was ridiculous. I think this was like a flashback or a flash sideways, but we were looking at some tunnelers, or I think they had pickaxes or something. And someone says, working up a sweat sure is fun, to which someone replies, indeed, and our sweat will eventually create a tunnel that becomes the people's smiles.
The fuck?
Right?
When did this happen?
I have no clue.
I think you are hallucinating.
No, not this time.
Not this time.
It's real. Someone said that. Someone wrote that line into the story and was okay with it.
I don't know, man.
Yes, this is how people think.
Hey, I got nothing. I don't know. It's a weird translation. Obviously, that's not what they were going for. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't think I believe you this time.
What do you mean? How could this... You think in Japanese that just makes sense?
I think someone wrote this and thought, this is deep.
I full on disagree. That is so obviously a mistranslation. The people's smiles.
The whole idea of this sentence, the whole concept of this thought, I think it was someone wrote this and thought, oh, this is deep.
I think a Japanese dude wrote it and said, this is deep, and then it got translated to English and didn't make any fucking sense.
Maybe.
And maybe in Japan it was it makes more sense. That's what my prediction is here.
So we're running out of time here because I am determined to keep this under an hour.
All right.
So we got 15 minutes left. Mm-hmm. A lot of discussion is had on Whitebeard.
Yes. Yeah.
And the consequences of this whole event, like the execution of what's his name, red-haired Ace.
Yes. Yes. It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And they're making it obvious that it's a very big deal. They're making it very aware.
They know that Whitebeard's going to retaliate, and they're preparing for this by gathering the kings, the pirate kings. Yeah. And I just had this thought that I wrote down. Mm-hmm. It really seems like Whitebeard is already king of the pirates.
So, okay, so Whitebeard is considered, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they've said this. But if not, here you go. It's not really a spoiler. Whitebeard is considered the strongest man in the world. However, to become king of the pirates, as per Gold Roger's standards, which is... I don't even know if it was him. I don't know when it all came to be. But to become king of the pirates, you have to get to the final island on the Grand Line. That's like the rule. So to officially become king of the pirates, you have to get to the final island on the Grand Line. Whitebeard has not done that. So he
definitely already has the power.
Yes, he's the strongest man in the world.
He's got the strength, he's got the influence, he's got the politics behind him, basically.
Mm-hmm. He's a very powerful man.
He's a very powerful man. And a pirate, no less.
Yes.
So let's just call him king of the pirates and put all these semantics aside.
He's not king of the pirates, though.
I'm going to think of him as king of the pirates.
That's fine, but...
So he hasn't sailed to the last thing. Who the fuck cares? I don't even know what's on the last thing. Why does he have to get there?
Why? Because that's
who's Goldie Roger to make these rules?
I don't think he made them. I don't know.
I didn't vote for him.
I don't know who. I don't know if Gold Roger came up with it, but it's like a respect thing, you know?
People respect Whitebeard.
Gold Roger, people do respect Whitebeard, and he also respects the rules that are set in this world. And he is not king of the pirates. There are things you must do. And this is one of them. You can't just call him king of the pirates when that's like saying you won an Olympic gold medal because you ran real fast, but you didn't go to the Olympics. You didn't get the gold medal just because you can run fast enough to get the gold medal. You didn't get the gold medal. You didn't get the gold medal. You didn't get the gold medal. You're not king of the pirates. You're not king of the pirates.
I really appreciate that the argument here is he's not king of the pirates because of the infamous pirate characteristic of following the rules.
See, again, how are we back to this? How How are we 500 episodes into this goddamn series and you still don't understand the pirates of this world? Some of them are that. Some of them might get... So, they're not all rule followers. However, they usually have a code that they follow. And it's kind of set in stone that if you want to be king of the pirates, you got to make it to the end and get the One Piece.
That just immediately made me think of Captain Barbossa and them saying like, "Oh, it ain't a code. It's more of a set of guidelines."
So, well, and that's fair. But the thing is, in order for him to be king of the pirates, he would have to say, "I'm now king of the pirates," and people would probably be like, "All right, you're the fucking strongest man in the world. That's fine. That's what you want." But he hasn't said that because
I don't think you need to claim to be king to be a king.
So you're telling me some random dude can just be like, "I'm the king of America," and then everybody's like, "All right, you're king of America."
No. If he has the power and influence to kind of earn that respect, then I don't think he ever has to say that he's king to be king.
I'm just saying.
If people just treat him like a king, then he's the king.
I appreciate that Oda has different... He could have made everything about, like, King of the Pirates. But he's actually fleshed the world out and given it enough cadence where it's like, there's kind of different titles. It's not just, like, one fucking thing. I feel like that would be doing it a disservice a little bit. It's like, there's the strongest man in the world. You have the 4 emperors. They're super strong. But there's only one king of the pirates. It's Gold Roger. He made it to the end of the Grand Line. Like, there's a lot of pieces, and he could have just fallen on the, I made the king of pirates trope in the beginning, so now I'm just gonna... Nothing else matters. It's all about king of the pirates. But he's, he's given enough description elsewhere where it's not even that important.
Anime really does seem to like its structure. Like there's always rules associated with things. There's titles. There's, all this kind of like
just
stuff.
like the real world.
Yeah, but the real world's definitely more nuanced. Like you can have the title of king, but not the respect of king.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I would say, Gold Roger, but you can also have the title of king and have the respect of a king. Which Gold Roger
I feel like in an anime sense, though, like, if you have the title of king, you would then have the respect of king, like, always.
What are you basing that off?
Just my experience with anime. Like, anime seems to just really like structure.
But, like...
And titles and rules always are pretty concrete and set. Like, you can't be the king of the pirates unless you do this, and then you'll be king of the pirates, and you'll have that respect.
Right. But you won't just automatically... yeah, I get what you're saying.
The New World has 2 emperors or whatever.
4.
Or 4 emperors. No more, no less.
Yes, no more... Well, we don't know that, necessarily. There's 4 current emperors. For all we know, there could be 5 or 6 in the future, but there's 4 current emperors.
Right. But presumably there's also rules and guidelines to retaining the title emperor, which is kind of like what I'm saying.
I just have a different... Well, I guess we'll get to that. Eventually, we'll see. I don't know.
Another thing that leans into this is like people and their professions always have like a code. Like Sanji, like he is chef first, pirate second. So everything he does, his personality, his values, his morals, all tie into his profession of being a chef. And, like, I feel like that just reinforces the idea that the genre of anime really likes structure,
I think, I'm not disagreeing with that. And I'm not disagreeing with it in One Piece, but I do think One Piece does a better job at doing nuances.
As opposed to, like, other animes?
Yes. At the base value, like, at least anime in general likes to present a character in the, like, simplest way possible. I want to be king of the pirates. Very simple way of telling you what the character wants, how they work, what their values are, and just that
I want to be the very best, the Pokemon master.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing that anime does it a lot. However, to me, a very anime thing to do would be for Whitebeard to say that he's king of the pirates, and he's just the second king of the pirates now. Like, that would be a very anime thing, and it's like, okay, we gotta defeat this king of the pirates now, or what have you. It's like, so the fact that they differentiate that he's not king of the pirates, he's the strongest man in the world, he's super fucking powerful, but he's not, I appreciate that. I feel like that's less of an anime thing and more of like a real world thing to do. Because I could see other animes just making him king of the pirates too. Like, he made it to the Grand Line, or he didn't even have to make it. Whatever,
Kinda
you know
like
what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like how in My Hero, like, All Might is the strongest, best superhero number one, or whatever title they have for it, I forget.
Right.
And as soon as he retires, it's Flame Man. Like, now he is superhero number one.
Exactly. Now he's king of the pirates too.
Yeah.
Now he's the next one up. So the fact that it's like, yeah, Whitebeard's super powerful, he's the strongest man in the world, but he has a different title than the king of the pirates. I think it's kind of cool that it's nuanced like that.
Could you also say that just the existence of these titles is also reinforcing the structure idea? Like,
yeah, I mean, to an extent.
Like, to go back to My Hero, like, why is there a definitive ranking of, like, these heroes? Like, we have hero number one, that's accepted, and everyone agrees on that. Right. And now they're retired. Now we need a new hero number one, and that's this guy because he was hero number two, and everyone agreed and accepted that. Like, everywhere you look, it seems to be like structure is a foundation to the whole concept of it.
Yeah. I like structure. However, you're also
I'm very anti-structure.
But we're also in a world of pirates that isn't super structured. Like, they have titles.
Well, that's structure. Titles is structure.
Yeah, but, like, that's not, like, all that there is to structure. The titles don't really... I don't know. I feel like the titles are more nuanced than just, like... I feel like they're presented in a way, but then there's more depth added to them as time goes on. Like, you could say Whitebeard's... So, like, Whitebeard's the strongest man in the world, but he also has the respect of, clearly, like, other pirates and, like, has a very strong crew. And the, like... I feel like this is the perfect scenario to set up, like, a villain. But, like, Whitebeard hasn't really come off as a villain.
No, he's come off as...
He's kind of like this neutral ground. You're not really sure what Whitebeard's doing. Like, and that doesn't feel structured to me. Like, I feel like an anime thing would be like, this is the next villain, here he is, let's defeat him. And One Piece does that to an extent. When you go to the next island, there's another villain. But to me, it does it in less of a structured way than, like, DBZ. Like, here's Frieza, here's Cell, here's Majin Buu. It's like, you just gotta... And then the power just keeps escalating, whereas the power hasn't kept really escalating. Luffy fights people who are better than him, Luffy fights people who are way worse than him. There are pirates who are way out of Luffy's... Like Whitebeard, we all know Luffy doesn't even come close to being able to compare to that power. And so, like... And then you see, like, the four... Okay, we got the four emperors. They're super strong, but they're, like, on a... They seem to be on a similar level of strength. So which one, you know, they're all... If one was stronger than the other, there'd only be one emperor. Right? There's four of them. So presumably, they're all on similar strength levels. You have the 9 warlords, which aren't necessarily powerful, because we see it with Blackbeard. Blackbeard gets chosen to be one of the... I said 9, I meant 7. One of the 7 warlords, but, like... His bounty isn't high. He doesn't have a bounty. He hasn't done anything to deserve a bounty, but they've still... So they don't know... Like, there's nuance there. It's not, like, all based around bounty. It's not all based around strength. It's... There's some nuance there. And I appreciate it more than other anime where it's like, we beat the big bad number 1, time to beat the big bad number 2, time to beat the big bad number 3. I think there's, you know, One Piece just does a better job. I'm done rambling.
So it sounds to me like you're comparing the structure of a narrative to the structure of the world. And I don't think that's an accurate, like, comparison to make. Because, yeah, like, DBZ is extremely structured narrative-wise. I kind of think One Piece is too, because you're going, like, ultimately, it's just following the crew island from problem to problem, and it's pretty capsulized, you know? You have some threads coming in between, but in general, like pretty much everywhere you look, there is some sort of structure like guiding it. From the fruits, like all fruits have like a specific set of rules. The concept of the fruits, like there's only one of each kind, and we kind of already know which. Well, the characters already know which ones each one does. If there's like fruits that turn you into animals, and there's like a structure like, okay, there's these types of fruits that turn you into animals, these types of fruits that turn you into animals, or like different types of animals. Then within that, there's like, okay, you got X amount of specific, like a specific number of forms for each one of those, but you can override that. But even still, with those little rumble balls, like that only gives you only 2 more forms or something like that. I just think like everywhere you look, you can find some sort of foundation and structure and guidelines and rules. Like even looking at Whitebeard, where you claim there's nuance. Like I see, like, okay, he doesn't hold the title of King of the Pirates. He doesn't try to hold the title of King of the Pirates because he hasn't got to the Grand Line or end of the Grand Line. That's the foundation of structure. Like if there was nuance there, then he'd probably be trying to tout around that title, you know? I don't know. I think it's just like a matter of perspective. Like I'm predisposed to like I have a very strong thread of anarchy in me. So I have a mind to look for structure like unconsciously and kind of want to poke at it, you know? I hate being told like this is the way we do things just because. Like and I just tend to see that a lot in anime. Like this is the way things are just because.
No, yeah, I mean there's a lot of structure. Don't get me wrong. In One Piece as well. I'm not like there's a lot of rules. Rules are structure. But I do think it's more nuanced than you give it credit for. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe. I am pretty biased.
And I think the question you haven't asked yourself is why hasn't Whitebeard made it to the end of the Grand Line?
Is there a legitimate reason?
I don't know. But like, I mean, he's old as shit. He's been a pirate since Gold Roger was a pirate, which was like 30 years ago. You would think by now he would have made it to the end of the Grand Line.
If he wanted to. So
exactly.
For some reason he doesn't want to.
That's pretty nuanced. That's not very structured. The structure of this world is you want to make it to the end of the Grand Line if you're a pirate.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like everyone has their own like, you know, motivations and goals and stuff. I don't think that's anti-structure though.
Well, I'm not. I guess we have different ideas of what structure is. I don't know.
I think so.
Because like I'm not saying it's anti-structure, but I do think it's. I don't know. The real world is structured, so like to say there can't be any structure is pretty ridiculous to me. Anime in general has a little more structure. I'm agreeing with you there, but like. If every time you come across structure in a narrative you treat it negatively, that seems like you're just doing yourself a disservice at that point. So you have to get the Ring to Mordor is a very structured thing to have to do. Why is like I know obviously the adventure is less structured. Kinda. I mean it's still kinda like a line. So why is like Lord of the Rings being one of your favorite things, why is that so acceptable?
Okay, so that's a pretty good question because, like, okay, the whole concept, get the Ring to Mordor, that's, you can think of that as one block. That's one kind of goal to do.
Right.
Within that, presuming you've never, like, read the books or seen the movies or not knowing anything about it, you have no idea what's going to come next. You watch maybe, like, a quarter of it. You still have no idea what's going to come next. You watch a quarter of One Piece, you have absolutely every idea what the rest of the show is going to look like. Whatever the narrative may come, it's still going to be pockets of arcs, like leading up to the finale, you know? And they're all going to follow the same basic structure. Like, crew arrives at destination, crew faces big baddie, crew fails, crew gets stronger, learns something to beat the big baddie, crew fights big baddie again, Most of the crew fails. Luffy comes in and saves the day. Then they move on to the next and repeat the process. And that's generally, like the structure of One Piece. And I don't think you can apply the same logic to Lord of the Rings because, like it's a fluid narrative. Like the beginning of the story doesn't really give away how the rest of the story is going to unfold.
I feel like you're not. I agree with you that, like, yes, at the base level, that's the structure of One Piece. But how it happens is always completely different, and, like, how the characters deal with it is always completely different.
Well, yeah, because, like, the big baddie is always going to be different, so their solutions are going to be different. Well, but the structure is still the same.
I don't know, I'm forming an argument here and I don't have it yet, so I'm not going to present it. But it's a fair point. I'm thinking about what you said and I'm just I get it. I do. But also I have some things I got to think through.
And I mean, like, I'm not saying one's better than the other by any means. I prefer the fluid narrative as opposed to an arc narrative, personally. But obviously there are millions of people who, have the reverse opinion, and that's fine. But I'm in a position where I'm being forced to watch hours upon hours of the arc narrative, so I'm going to comment on it.
Yeah, that's fair. But again, it goes... Why do you like DBZ?
Because I was 13 and thought it was badass to watch big beefcakes
so it's
beat
all,
the shit out of each other.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Why do you like Avatar? Every episode
I feel like,
is just like a mini arc.
Yeah, but
and they also have like a structure to every episode. It's always very predictable where it's going.
It's very episodic.
Yes.
For sure. But on a narrative as a whole, I think the story is a very like good story, whether it's well told or not. Like people can debate till the end of time whether it's a well told story or not, but the story itself I really enjoy.
That's fair. All right. Fight with Magellan. We got a couple minutes. We're over, but I wanna touch on this. Thoughts?
Who's Magellan?
The poison dude. Luffy fights poison dude.
Oh, did he win?
No, he lost horribly and is now poisoned and dying.
Oh, is that why he passed out?
Yes.
I've forgotten so much, man. It's been 2 weeks.
I just don't understand how you forget the fights. If there's anything to remember, it's the fights.
Because they're so... I don't know, man.
I mean, I don't think One Piece has the best fights. However, it's like
if there's one thing you can count on happening, it's fights.
Yeah, but like Luffy gets utterly destroyed. So like the thing I keep going back to is like in the beginning you say you want to see the main characters fail, and then whenever they fail, you never remember it.
No, that's because these are small failures. Like these are lost battles, but not lost wars.
Dying.
We've seen him in worse positions.
I don't think we have.
We saw him fucking gutted by Alabasta Man. Like, he was hanging on a hook, like dead meat. I feel like that's probably just a comparable position.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. However, like, I don't know. Luffy's unconscious. He's completely poisoned. He has 24 hours to live. Let's be real, Luffy's not gonna die.
No, he's gonna...
So, like, obviously something's going to happen, but, like, I don't know, we have another fight here where Luffy doesn't even stand a chance. He punched the guy, like, once, but the dude's made out of poison. So in order to punch him, you have to poison yourself. Which is pretty fun. And Luffy does it because he wants to save Ace so bad, but it doesn't... He didn't pull through. Like...
Yeah, but this isn't the end of the arc, though. Like,
how is he gonna beat Poison Guy?
I don't know. Like, I face the same question every time we come across another big bad guy. Like, how's he gonna beat this guy? You know, like because there's always that middle of the arc where he loses against him, and you're left with that same impression, like, oh, how is he going to beat this guy? So, I mean, this one doesn't stand out because every single one has it.
But there's been plenty of times where, like, Ice Guy, how's he going to beat Ice Guy? He didn't, and he couldn't, and they ran.
So Ice, oh yeah.
He froze him, and Luffy
yeah.
lost horribly and immediately.
We'll figure out a way.
Same with Paul Man. How's he going to beat this guy? He didn't beat him. They all got blasted away. They lost a horrible fight.
I know, that was nice.
And it was 1v8, and none of them could even come close. So now, where once again Luffy's dealing with failure, there's been many times where he hasn't just bounced back. You know? Maybe he will this time. We'll just have to wait and see.
Was that a rubber pun?
Yeah, I totally meant that. I don't know. Again, I feel like you're ignoring the nuance. There is structure in the arcs. Yes, and that is a structure that happens. They lose, they bounce back. But there's also times where that didn't happen. You know, we can't just ignore those times.
Nah. The fights are pretty boring.
Yeah, I don't think One Piece is necessarily about the fights. I do like the Magellan fight, though. I do think it's a cool fight. But regardless, that's all I got.
We'll see how that plays out.
We're pretty good on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to sit here for another 15 minutes to talk some more?
No. Let's save it for after hours.
That's fair. All right. We'll be back in, I don't know, an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're playing today.
Neither. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we have some things lined up.
We'll be playing some things that are fun and chit-chatting with you guys and just having a good time in general.
We're going to cool off from our heated debates and talk about happy things.
Less heated today, though.
Yeah, this was pretty less heated.
I feel like this was good. I didn't feel like I was going to have a heart attack in the middle.
I didn't feel like strangling you, so.
We're growing as a comedic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.